Welcome to the Open to Hope Show. I'm your host, Dr. Gloria Horsley, with my daughter and co-host,
Dr. Heidi Horsley.
Well, we've got a really important show for you today because we're going to be talking about friends helping friends. And you know, as you know, it is a very difficult time when you've had a loss and you need friends, don't you, Heidi?
Absolutely, Mom. And this is a show that is so near and dear to my heart because we're going to be talking about an amazing school called the Calhoun School. And it's where my children go. And we're going to be talking about how a community came together and how a school came together after the loss of one of its students.
That's so important because, you know, you all hear about school shootings and kids dying that go to school, and I know a lot of you have had that experience, and we're going to talk to people who've come in as friends, and it's going to give you some ideas if you're a friend or if you've had a loss, how you can help family members. And we're going to have a mom on who's done some amazing things. It's going to inspire you because one of the things we know is that when you start to heal, it's when you start to reach out and help other people.
Absolutely, Mom. So we're going to talk today with three people that are good friends of mine. We're going to talk with Jackie Kern, Matt Vidmar, and Dana Lerner. And we're going to talk to them about what happened when one of the students died at Calhoun. Mm-hmm. So let me tell you a little bit about the backstory, and then I'll introduce you to everybody. Cooper Stock was 9 years old when he was run over by a taxi cab and killed in New York City. Mm-hmm. And this was January of 2014.
Wow, he was in your daughter's class
too,
too, wasn't he?
He was. This is so near and dear to my heart because my daughter Samantha is the same age as Cooper and has known him since he was 3 years old. And they've been in a lot of the same classes together over the years. Right. So I've gotten to know him, I knew him, and he was bigger than life, an amazing personality, just an incredible kid. And I also knew his mom, and I do know his mom now, and met her many years ago, and she's a social worker and also graduated from my alma mater, Columbia.
And she's also been on our show before to talk about some safe streets and some things they've done to change some laws too. So hopefully people will look at that show also.
She has. Dana has been such an advocate, and she has done so much in Cooper's honor and so much for the city of New York so that other kids will not die this way. She's changed the laws and a lot of other things that we'll talk about today.
Great.
So let me introduce you to some of our guests, Mom. So Jackie Kern, I've known Jackie for many years also. Mm-hmm. She was actually the very first parent I ever met at the Calhoun School. This was 13 years ago. Mm-hmm. Our oldest sons, who are both seniors in high school now, have gone to Calhoun together. And Jackie has done so much around keeping Cooper's memory alive. And we're going to talk to her about some of the things she's done. She's created, healing circles to bring all of Dana's friends together. Which I've gone to. She's created something called Coops Hoops, which is a fundraiser that sends disadvantaged kids to basketball camp.
Wow.
And then we're going to talk with Matt Vidmar.
Hi, Matt.
Hi.
And Matt is also someone I've known for many, many years because both of my kids have had him as a teacher. He's also the golf coach. And they love him.
The golf coach, I'm a big golfer.
Yes, she is. And he's gotten very involved with the events at the school also, and will tell us what he's done. They have a Cooper's Troopers Day, where it's a day of service in Cooper's memory. And we will be seeing a clip later about that.
Awesome.
So he can talk about some of the ways that they keep Cooper's memory alive. You know, I've got to say something. I am so impressed with Calhoun.
Because Calhoun's a private school in New York City, right?
It is. It's a school on the Upper West Side. And I've been in this field for over 20 years, and I have never seen a school that has come together in such a positive, healthy way to honor and remember one of the children that have died. I mean, after Cooper died, they kept his cubby open for the entire year. And the kids came together and wrote notes and put things in it. They left his chair empty for the entire year.
This is so interesting, Heidi, because people just feel like little kids shouldn't even talk about grief and loss.
Absolutely.
And we know from the literature that they should and that they need to, and it's a natural part of life and dealing with these kinds of traumas. So great
Absolutely.
for the school.
And Samantha used to come home every day and talk to me. Mom, we talked about Cooper today. Mom, we saw this with Cooper. They just kept his memory alive, and they still do. He is such a part of that grade, and he always will be.
Wow.
And it's a tribute to the school and to teachers like Matt. And then there's my very good friend Dana Lerner, and
we are so sorry for you and what your loss, and we know how difficult it's been as we've been through it ourselves. So our hearts are always with you, and I know a lot of our audience who have lost children and family members, their hearts are with you right now too.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And Dana has done an incredible amount as an advocate She's been in media. She has been in, written letters to magazines and et cetera, and just brought awareness to what's going on in New York City. Every 30 hours someone is run over and killed in New York. And she's changed the laws, she's kept Cooper's memory alive, she's raised money, like I said, to send people to camps. I mean, she's done an incredible amount. We'll talk to her about all the things she's done to keep Cooper's memory alive. And I know that he's your guiding light. I always say that. Scott and Cooper are our guiding lights.
And this show's really, loss is sad, and particularly the loss of children, but this show's really today about hope. It's about heroes too, isn't it, Heidi?
Absolutely, and I think we have 3 heroes definitely today in this room.
Absolutely. So why don't we start out with you today? Talk a little bit
Jackie.
about
Hi.
Jackie.
Thank you for having me.
About all the things that you've done.
Well, I mean, I feel really grateful that Dana has been so open to having help, because there was this huge community of people that were mourning Cooper's loss, because it could have been any one of our children.
Yeah.
And some people would just kind of retreat and lock themselves in their apartment and never see the sunshine. And Dana was so open to having help, which allowed us all to heal by helping Dana.
Oh, that's so great.
Well,
that's such a good point.
You know what I was struck by with Jackie is that sometimes when we have a loss, and I know this because my brother died, people run away. They disappear, but you kind of embraced Dana and embraced all our friends, and you gave us a place to come and gather. And you brought us all together, and I thought that was just pretty amazing.
Yeah, thank you. I think, again, it was, part of it is selfish, because I felt the loss. We all felt this loss, and I mean, I was definitely taught early on to don't run from death. When my husband's mother passed away, there were 2 groups of people. Ones that kind of disappeared because they didn't know what to say, and the others that were there and present. And I remember thinking that's a valuable lesson to learn, that you should be there and don't be afraid of death. And so Dana, she was open to having this healing circle, which was really pretty amazing. It was, honestly, I think it was only a few weeks after Cooper died, and we just gathered. I think a circle of women is very powerful.
Yes.
And we gathered as a circle of women, and we had a healer there that kind of walked us through a meditation and allowed us all to just feel the grief that was in the room and in our lives. And through these sort of healing circles, we were all able to express our grief and to help Dana deal with hers.
And I've been to these, and they're incredible.
Tell me, I'm watching this, and
Yeah.
I'm thinking, how does this healing circle work? How do I get in touch with people, and how do I do it?
Oh, well, in this case, Dana had a very big circle of friends, unbelievable friends, and there was one of her good friends, Linda, was kind of the keeper of the calendar, if you will, and everyone was on an email thread. And when we came up with the idea of the healing circle, we just emailed all of her friends. Of course, 20 out of 20 said, "I'll do anything, I'll come," and I got in touch with the healer and just kind of.
What was the healer's name?
Oh, her name. She was actually on your show. She's been on your radio show.
Yeah.
Her name is Lori Chinitz, and she does several different modalities for healing, but cranial sacral is a big part of her practice. And she also is a teacher of a program called Healing to the Core, which is kind of all about full body presence. And she just there's something very calming about Lori and her voice. And so she didn't know Dana. She actually didn't know any of us at the time, but she also felt very drawn to the story as a mother of 2 sons. And I was a little nervous at first because I didn't really know how it would go. I didn't know if it would help Dana or make it more difficult, but it was pretty obvious right away.
So I like the fact that you took a risk.
Right.
That's one of the things that in life that sometimes we do have to take a little risk.
That's true.
With people.
And
who are
the
having-
other
That's
thing
true.
you did, we can talk just briefly about it, is Coops Hoops.
Yes. So Cooper, this 9-year-old kid knew more facts about basketball, but not like today's basketball. You could ask him who won the game between please don't say a football team, Jackie, embarrass yourself. Who won the game?
Lakers, Celtics.
Exactly. Thank you.
There you go, because because
Matt.
you two work together in Cooper's
Well,
Hoops.
no, you're more involved in
Sports,
Cooper's
yeah.
Trooper,
There's a Cooper Sports at our school,
Okay.
and that's a little
okay.
different than Cooper
So Lakers
Scoops.
Celtics, if you asked Cooper who scored the game point in the Lakers Celtics game in 1982, he would know it. And I know that Dana expressed in the weeks after Cooper died that her biggest fear was no one's going to remember him. And that just resonated with me because he was 9 years old and everyone's life was going on.
Right.
And I just thought of this idea the other thing about Cooper is he loved basketball camp. That was a very big part of his summer. He loved going, he loved taught. If he could go to basketball camp, all year round, he would. So I just thought of this idea of like, why don't we raise money in Cooper's honor and send kids to basketball camp?
And I know that you've sent 100 kids.
So we've sent about 100 kids in the past
Okay.
2 years, and at the end of the program, which is so beautiful, there's this statue this trophy that's bigger than the kid that gets it usually, who has the biggest heart in camp in honor of Cooper. And Walt Frazier actually hands out this trophy every year because he's part of this basketball camp.
And Walt Frazier was?
Was a wonderful basketball player.
Who did he play
Center.
for?
He was a very tall guy.
No, he was a Nick. He was definitely a
Walt
Nick,
Frazier.
wasn't he? Of
No,
course.
he was a Nick. Cooper knew.
Yes, yes, yes.
Cooper's team was the Knicks, of
Yeah.
course. So
Yes.
he
He was
could-
a Nick. He was
Okay.
definitely a
Good
Nick.
time.
Cooper
Okay, so
really
Matt,
loved him. Yeah.
How have you been involved in all this?
So at the Calhoun School, 2 years ago, we wanted to have a day in Cooper's memory, a day of service and activities for second, third, and fourth grade students. There's 150 students and their teachers. So every year in June, we started in 2014 in June, we have Cooper's Troopers Day. And that year was dedicated to giving back to the neighborhood. And we helped install and add books to a library at a residential facility for women and children up the street. And then this past year we focused on pedestrian safety. And we had all these activities throughout the day, including a sidewalk awareness street safety class outside around the neighborhood there. We had our media arts teacher help the kids videotape some PSA videos,
Oh, wow.
which are fun. And we had a police officer parent come in to talk about how he keeps us safe.
I love all this, and Samantha's very involved in the Cooper's Troopers Day, and I want to say to everybody out there watching, if you want to start something like this, do in your own school. I mean, it's once a year, a day of service in honor of Cooper, in this case.
Right.
I love that idea.
Well, I think one of the things too, Heidi, is we were talking about someone called you, a newspaper reporter, to talk about an event that just happened where
Right.
a lot of people were killed. And you were saying how frightened kids are. And I think
Right.
having this idea that there are things that they can proactively
Yes.
do is very reassuring for children, that we talk about it, we do things, we honor, and we don't just
It's empowering.
it's empowering.
And
for
we're giving
everyone.
them education, and so that they're not living a life of fear. And,
Absolutely. Well, we want to show a roll-in right now of the kids going down to look at the
Cooper's-
street sign and
well, what's happening is they're renaming the street where Cooper died, Cooper Stock Way, right, Dana? Is that
Yeah, it was renamed Cooper's Troopers. It was the same day, so the kids came the day that the sign was put up.
so? All the
new
kids at
sign.
Calhoun are walking over.
you'll see them walking over, and then your
the streets.
brother-in-law your brother.
Baron is speaking.
Your brother gives a wonderful talk there. So let's take a look at that, and we can talk about it some more.
Cooper's Troopers are the future of street safety in New York City. I want everyone to give them a round of applause.
His friendship meant everything to me. Cooper was the kind of guy I just wanted to be around. I sometimes see him in my dreams. If I had one wish, it would be for him to be here with us. I will never forget him. He will always be a part of my life.
Every time we see this sign or any other sign, let's ask why that sign is there. And as citizens, do something about it. This is just the beginning of a way to remember Cooper, to remember his memory, and to prevent more lives from being lost in such a needless and ridiculous way.
Wow.
That's powerful.
Takes your breath away. It's powerful. Those
Yeah.
kids are so darling, and just that energy and fun. And you know, Cooper was a fun kid. I'm sure I didn't know
He
him,
was.
but you can tell that little boy talking about him and hearing all about him.
was
So
a very
really
good kid.
fantastic. Well, Dana, talk about your friends helping you and.
Well, I do have to give Jackie credit for sort of, I was going to say coerce, but that's not the right word. When I came home from the hospital when Cooper died, and I came home from the hospital and I saw Jackie in my apartment, just quietly, you know, doing stuff. And Jackie and I had known each other, you know, relatively well, and I could just see she was just taking over and doing things, and just, you know, it was hard to focus on anything at that point. But so, you know, my friends help me to do the things that I'm doing. It takes their help. Someone like yourself to have me on the show. It takes my friends' help sometimes to really keep me going, and so, you know, Jackie really, we sort of came up with this idea. It was Jackie's idea, and we just decided to go with it. And for me, any day or any time anybody's thinking about Cooper, that's what I have, you know, to live for.
You know, that's so interesting because there's so many people that think we don't want to hear the kids' names after, or they, you know, don't think, you know, that we want to talk about them. But we just had a rabbi on our show, and he said to us, the thing is, he said, people ask me, what should I do when I go see somebody where there's been a loss? And he said, what I tell them is, tell them a story about him.
Yes.
Exactly.
That's what they wanna hear.
We want to hear stories about how they lived.
Exactly.
We can't get enough of those.
Absolutely. Well, Matt, you know, I was thinking, we see so many women in the grief world, and, you know, they all get there. I so appreciate your coming in
do
today
too.
and being here. And I would imagine that you are quite the strong person for those little boys.
Yeah.
At your
Well, I mean,
school.
you could see in the video these boys, they can express themselves, and you know, with at school, at the Calhoun School with Cooper's Troopers, you know, we are like a small family, small community, the Calhoun School. So we really can rely on each other to express our feelings, and people are great listeners too.
And it's so important because you think about the number of hours kids spend in school, and Calhoun is like a family. And so I really love that idea that you're giving them permission to talk in a healthy way about loss. It's not a secret, and it's not taboo.
Right.
And sometimes kids want a trooper. They want to do just that. They want to march.
Yes.
They want to, you know,
Chant.
play basketball.
Yeah.
They want to chant. You know, they want to, where the girls may be a little more drawing or something about it. But what I love about it is that these kids will be able to talk to you about it until they graduate.
Yes.
Right, and I'm counting on Cooper's Troopers Day to be happening for many years to come, and it's
Now,
so
what does that
important.
day look like so people know if they were planning a day, what would it look like?
You know, you have to, I mean, it's all about activities and breaking up time, and important activities where kids are involved and they're thinking and they're remembering, and remembering the good times and thinking ahead too toward the future. And I think it's very valuable for these kids.
So what would it look like if I came to school in the morning? What would I do? Are we going to play ball? Or are we going to do, what are we
Well,
going to
a
do?
lot of it is our activities, and a lot of thoughtful activities, not
Okay.
just you know, running around and mindless things. They're really thinking, and they're also doing good things for the community,
Talk
which I think
about
is
that. What
important.
kinds of things?
Like I mentioned, we were out endorsing the 25-mile-an-hour speed
And
limit,
what has it been?
and it was 35.
Okay.
And that was cut down, I think. Dana can tell you more about that. And we were out passing flyers around the neighborhood as reminders.
And all the kids have T-shirts. Samantha has a T-shirt, a
And
Cooper's
T-shirts,
Troopers
yeah.
T-shirt, and she gets really excited about the idea that it's going to happen. I mean, it's been interesting as a parent seeing her response. She loves that it's going to happen, and they know what it's about, and they can't wait for that day.
One of the things that's most important is that we haven't, what I learned since Cooper passed away is that we have an epidemic of reckless driving epidemic in our city. And most children, the amount of children that die and older people that die in car crashes is unbelievable. And nobody knew that. So I've gotten involved with the Families for Safe Streets. And for me, what's very important in Cooper's Troopers also is that they are learning information. They're talking to people. They understand the concept of reckless driving, and that they will be thinking about this as they grow up. So they will be safer. So that's a big part for me that is very important, is that part of that day is educating them and helping them to do what they need to do and what they want to do around this epidemic.
Well, you know, I totally agree with you, Dana. And you know what struck me about Cooper is the impact he had on kids in the school, no matter how old they were.
Yeah.
From the high school kids to the elementary school kids. And you know, we're going to have a song, go over the song by Sam Horn and Jackson Lundy called Never Alone. And Sam wrote this after Cooper died.
Yeah.
These are high school kids.
Yeah.
Jackson's a senior and Sam's a sophomore. And Sam wrote this, right?
Well, Cooper was a very friendly person, and to say the least.
He never met a stranger.
I
know him. I can say that.
Yeah, no, I mean, so he, you know, he used to go into my daughter's grade and just go and like sit on the laps of the kids, like it didn't even matter. So he met them, hi, and so yeah, he did have friends of all ages, and in particular, he liked going to the basketball games, and it was just incredibly kind of Sam, who is a friend of my daughter's also, to write this song. It was just incredibly moving, incredibly
Awesome.
appreciative of that, and he's very talented.
I'm excited to
Did
hear
you say
it.
the name of the song, Heidi?
Yes, Never Alone.
Never Alone. So sweet. Could you each give me 2 words about Cooper, you two, before we close the show? Before we go to the music.
If I have to tell you the first 2 words that come to mind, it's high energy.
I'd say curious, and he had a memory like a steel trap, I would say, of sports and music
Oh, that's right.
as well. So.
Dana, do you want to say
Oh,
something?
he was crazy.
Crazy
He was
good.
crazy in the best way possible. He really was. He just was so uninhibited, and you know, as I look back on videos and things like that, and I can't believe what I'm seeing. He just lived life to the fullest.
Yeah, I was going to say that. He really did.
He loved life, and he
did.
lived it to the fullest, and he was an old soul. He did appreciate things that, you know, older kids and adults might appreciate as well.
Well, I want to thank you guys for being on the show today and talking about how important friends are, and the Calhoun School and everything is amazing.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. You know how much I love the Calhoun School.
Thanks for having
Thank
us.
And you guys.
Thank you.
And thanks for watching this show today. And we're going to go out of this show today with
Never Alone.
Never Alone. And thanks for watching. As Heidi and I always want to say, if you lost hope, please lean on ours until you find your own, and God bless.
We miss him. Yeah, we miss him. What an awful tragedy. Why did it have to be? Never alone. He's never alone. He'll never be alone. Never alone. He's never alone. He'll never be alone. He left the red hot chili peppers a lot. We have that in common, yeah. I hope you enjoy it up above, watching down on us, yeah. Never alone, he's never alone, he'll never be alone. never alone, he's never alone, he'll never be alone. Never alone, he's never alone, he'll never be alone. Never alone, he's never alone, he'll never be alone. Touched my life and everybody else's. We love you and miss you so much. I'll never forget the joy it brought to me. I cherish our memories, yeah. Never alone, he's never alone, he'll never be alone. Never alone, he's never alone, he'll never be alone. Never alone, he's never alone, he'll never be alone. Never alone, he's never alone.